بر محمد وآل محمد بلندتر صلوات. I was requested to recite a kalam for the shafa of a woman in London earlier today, but unfortunately she wasn't able to make it. But in any case, we recite this for her shafa in the hereafter, and we also recite this for all the mu'mineen that are suffering from illnesses. Before I begin, can I please request a Surah Fatiha for the mu'minah who just passed away earlier today? Al-Fatiha. بر محمد وآل محمد صلوات. نام عباس وسیلہ ہے ہر دعا کے لیے. نام عباس وسیلہ ہے ہر دعا کے لیے. اس میں اعظم ہے یہ مومن کی التجا کے لیے. مل کے پڑھیں. نام عباس وسیلہ ہے ہر دعا کے لیے. کوئی مانے یا نہ مانے ہے یہ ایمان میرا. نام عباس تو بخشش کا ہے سامان میرا. چشمہ فیض ہے، چشمہ فیض ہے یہ در ہر ایک گدا کے لیے. نام عباس وسیلہ ہے ہر دعا کے لیے. در پہ ایک بار جو آیا کبھی خالی نہ گیا. ہو کے مایوس کبھی کوئی سوالی نہ گیا. در کھلا رہتا ہے، در کھلا رہتا ہے عباس کا عطا کے لیے. نام عباس وسیلہ ہے ہر دعا. And with this verse, we pray for all those who are ill. For those that don't understand Urdu, translations on the screen. باوفا آپ کو بیمار مدینہ کی قسم، وہ جو بیمار ہے کر ان پہ ذرا نظر کرم. تیرے پرچم، تیرے پرچم کی ہوا چاہیے شفا کے لیے. بلند آواز میں. نام عباس وسیلہ ہے ہر دعا. جو عزادار زیارت کو تڑپتے ہیں تیری، آپ کو واسطہ شبیر کا مولا غازی दर पे बुलवा लो, दर पे बुलवा लो उन्हें मजलिसे अज़ा के लिए। नाम अब्बास वसीला है हर दुआ के। दीद करता हूँ अलम पर तो कलम रुकता है, याद आ जाते हैं गाजी मुझे यूं लगता है, अभी रोता है, अभी रोता है ये ज़ैनब तेरी रिदा के लिए। नाम अब्बास वसीला है हर दुआ के लिए। सल्लल्लाहु अला मुहम्मद व आलि मुहम्मद। Oh my asghar, where are you? Come, your mother is calling for you. Oh my asghar, where are you? Come, your mother is calling for you. The skies are darkening, the desert is cold. Gone is my baby, just 6 months old. The skies are darkening, the desert is cold. Gone is my baby, just 6 months old. I cannot find him, my little prince. Come, your mother is calling for you. Oh my asghar, oh my asghar, where are you? Come, your mother is calling for you. You were so thirsty, your tongue so dry, we couldn't fetch you water, though we did try. You were so thirsty, your tongue so dry, we couldn't fetch you water, though we did try. Is your thirst quenched now, oh beloved one? Come, your mother is calling for you. Oh my asghar, oh my asghar, where are you? Come, your mother is calling for you. When Hurmala aimed his arrow at you, did he know that he wounded me too? When Hurmala aimed his arrow at you, did he know that he wounded me too? My heart is broken, oh where are you? Come, your mother is calling for you. Oh my asghar, oh my asghar, where are you? Come, your mother is calling for you. How can I leave you in Karbala? The youngest martyr on Ashura. How can I leave you in Karbala? The youngest martyr on Ashura. How can my baby sleep in the sand? How can my baby sleep in the sand? Come, your mother is calling for you. Oh my asghar, oh my asghar, where are you? Come, your mother is calling for you. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Tonight's majlis is sponsored by Iram and Haider, Nazmeen Fida Hussain Hassan Ali, Bilal Sheikh, Shahid Abai Hassan Ali, the Merchant family, and Leeb Khan and Dr. Muhammad Ali. Please can you recite Surah Fatiha for marhumins of their family? The names displayed on the screen and all marhumins. Surah Al-Fatiha. Also kindly note, there will be no majlis at Kabristan tomorrow after the Ashura program, but you can still visit, the Kabristan gates closes at 5 p.m. So if you want to visit, do visit before then. Can we now invite Sheikh Nuru to the member? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Sorry brothers, can I also request you to move forward please? Can you all move forward? Thank you.
رحم الله من يقرأ الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين حبيبي إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد صلى الله عليك يا مولانا يا أبا عبد الله صلى الله عليك يا ابن رسول الله صلى الله عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين صلى الله عليك يا ابن فاطمة المظلوم ما خاب من تمسك بكم وأمن من لجأ إليكم يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. هنالك دعا زكريا ربه قال رب هب لي من لدنك ذرية طيبة إنك سميع الدعاء آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. For the love of our Abdullah, with the loudest of our voices, صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. For the purification of our hearts and the hastening of the reappearance of our beloved 12th Imam, with the loudest of our voices, صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Once again, we thank Almighty Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala for gracing us with this important night, the Eve of Ashura. I first take this opportunity to express my heartfelt condolences to the Imam of our time and to each and every one of you, mu'mineen and mu'minat, on this painful and tragic occasion. We pray that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala continue to inspire us to follow and emulate the footsteps of Ahlul Bayt al-Ismati wa Tahara. The verse I've just quoted is Quran 3, verse 38. It discusses how Prophet Zakaria alayhi salam supplicated when asking Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to grant him with a good offspring. Now, departing from this verse, our topic of tonight is childhood and its rights. And the examination is of the following stages. The first stage, we'll look at the value and the status of a child within the religion of Islam. And we'll see how important a child is, whether male or female, in the sight of Allah through the teachings of the Holy Prophets and Ahlul Bayt. And then the second stage of my examination, I will focus on three main rights of children within the religion of Islam. We'll look at rights before they were born, and rights when in the wombs or in the stomachs of their mothers, and rights after they arrive in this world. And then the last stage of the examination, I will share with you a general methods or practice which is widely used and sanctioned by the Holy Quran and the traditions of Ahlul Bayt on how to nurture and bring our children to become role models and to become responsible. Of course, one of the wish of every married person is to be blessed with children. And we know children are from no one else but Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And Quran is very clear when it comes to this. لله ملك السماوات والأرض يهب لمن يشاء إناثا ويهب لمن يشاء ذكورا أو يزوجهم ذكرانا وإناثا ويجعل من يشاء عقيما. Said the kingdom of the earth and heaven belongs to Allah. He is the one who blesses whomsoever he pleases with females, girls. So some of us have only girls. It's the doing of Allah Ta'ala. And he is the one, when he pleases, he blesses someone with boys. So there are those who have only boys and they don't have girls. And then the verse continues, أو يزوجهم ذكرانا وإناثا. When he decides and he desires, he gives you both males and females. So that some of us here, we've got both males and females, boys and girls. But when Allah decides, يَجْعَلُ مَن يَشَاءُ أَقِيمًا, he doesn't give you neither boys nor girls. If you are married and for a long time you do not have children, I know it can become challenging, but leave the matter in the hand of Allah. Maybe there is something Allah is saving you from, is protecting you from. Because having children is a mammoth task. It's a responsibility. It requires techniques. Otherwise, we will be violating the rights of those children. And hence the Holy Prophet, sallallahu alayhi wa ali, when discussing the rights of children, he would always remind his companions, and of course all of us, with that famous tradition, كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته. Each and every one of you parents, you are like shepherds. And you are going to be questioned one after the other. How you raise and nurture those children. First stage of my examination, the value and the status of a child. You see, philosophically, when philosophers examine existence, it said each and every person is of two major dimensions to his existence or head. We've got physical dimension to our existence. And then we've got what is called extended or recognized dimension to our existence. What is our physical existence? Number of years you spend in this world. It's important, but that's not the aim of life. 100 years, 200, 50 years. That's janib min jawanib hayat al-insan. It's just one dimension of the life of an individual. The second dimension of our life, kindly pay attention, my dear brothers and sisters, is what is called extended or recognized existence. What is that? It's whatever you are able to achieve out of the number of years given to you by Allah. So far, you've spent 10 years. What have you achieved? So far, you've spent 70 years. Okay, what have you achieved? You may achieve goodness, and may Allah forbid one may achieve evilness. So whatever you achieve in your life is extension to your life. The highest extension to our lives are our children. That's why children are crucial. They are the most important thing that can happen in the life of every individual. Hence, Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam makes it very clear. وَأَمَّا حَقُّ وَلَدِكَ فَأَنْ تَعْلَمَ أَنَّهُ مِنْكَ وَمُضَافٌ إِلَيْكَ فِي عَاجِلِ الدُّنْيَا بِخَيْرِهِ وَشَرِّهِ. Look at Imam Zain al-Abidin. When he discusses the rights of our children, you know what he said? He said, you parents should know that these children are from you. No, they are your extension in the goodness of this dunya and in the evilness of this dunya. Meaning, when you train them well, when you nurture them well, and they do good, you get commission every single day from Allah. That is why before children become baligh, every single ibadah they do, the reward goes to the father and mother. You see them, they come for Marcia. All the reward go to the parents. This prophetic tradition. Children are important. A child can easily take you to heaven. Look at traditions. Rasulullah mentioned, min sa'adatil mar'i an yakuna lahu waladun yasta'inu bih. He said one of the signs of the success of an individual in his or her life is to have a child with you. When you need to do something, at least the child also helps. Having a child in Islam is a sign of success. And hence the Holy Prophet says, Al-waladu rayhanatun min rayahin al-jannah. He said, child is one of the bundles of heaven. And you find that beautiful tradition again from our beloved first Imam, where Imam says, إِذَا أَرَادَ اللَّهُ بِعَبْدِهِ خَيْرًا. When Allah desires goodness for his servant, he will show him or her, his or her children before the person departs from this world. You know, Allah will bless you. It doesn't mean that if you are not blessed with children, Allah doesn't desire khair for you. Don't look at the tradition in isolation. But we are discussing about children, hence I'm focusing on this tradition. Otherwise, Allah is the best of all planners. You do not have, doesn't mean that you don't have a khair. There are great servants of Allah, prophets, who did not have children. Now, these children, they are not only blessings in this world. They are also blessings for us on the day of Qiyamah. Their first blessing, you know that long tradition, again from the Prophet. He said, when you are in this world and you do or you have 5 things in your lives, when you depart, you will benefit from these 5 things until Qiyamah. Number 1, Prophet says, whoever plant a tree. And we know this tradition. You plant one tree because it's a source of life. It's a source of good energy. You plant one tree, it's a big blessing. And likewise, you walk in maybe in town, you eat something you throw away. It is guna. Literally, it's haram in Islam. Hence, Prophet said, وَتُمِيتُ الْأَذَى عَنِ الطَّرِيقَةِ صَدَقَةً. You walk in and you see all places not tidy, and you are able to make it. You do it, it is charity on your behalf. So number 1, planting a tree is a great sadaqah. Number 2, Prophet said, Man hafara bi'ran. People are in need of water, and you provide water, you will get Allah's reward. Number 3, a book you are able to write in your life for the benefit of people, whether in their religious matter or in their worldly affairs, that you want to get reward from Allah. Number 4, whoever helps in building a mosque for people to go and chant the praises of Allah, you're going to get reward, because mosque is the house of Allah. Last but not least, whoever is able to nurture a child to become a good child. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, brothers. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And the last one is when you are able to nurture a child. You are blessed with a child and you give the child proper upbringing, it becomes tawabul jariyah for you. You're going to get the reward of that on the day of Qiyamah. And hence, you know that hikayah, that story, during the lifetime of Isa alayhi salam. Isa visited cemetery and he was passing by a grave and he realized the person in that grave was receiving Allah's punishment. Isa left. Narration said after 1 year, he visited the same cemetery. And when passing by the same grave, the person was in Allah's blessings, Allah's ni'mah. Isa raised up his hand and asked Allah, Ya Allah, last year I came here and this person was receiving punishment. And today is in your blessings. What's the reason? Allah says he left behind a child. Although he departed not a good person, but he left behind a child. And that child now is doing good deeds on behalf of the father. And as a result of that, his situation is changed from bad to good. Children are important. You know, there was a man who decided not to have a child. Said, I don't want headache. It's a story, but it's a true story. Said, I don't want headache. Family were telling him, no, try, inshallah. Make it on. So Allah blessed him with Hajj. He went to Hajj on the day of Arafah. You know how people get absorbed in Allah's ibadah on the day of Arafah. He was standing next to a young boy, youth, like your ages. And this youth was making dua, Ya Allah, my father, bless my father, bless my father, bless my father. When he went back from Hajj, he said, now I've understood the need to have a child. Children are important. The Holy Prophet said, إِذَا مَاتَ ابْنُ آدَمْ إِنْقَطَعَ عَمَلُهُ إِلَّا مِنْ ثَلَاثٍ. When the son of Adam departs from this world, nothing will matter except one of the three when it comes to his life of barzakh. First one, sadaqatun jariyah, running sadaqah. Common, a clock may be in the mosque. Mosque need a clock. And you buy this clock. When you are no more, and the mosque continue to benefit from this clock, wallahi, you will get Allah. You know, Allah is so merciful, brothers. Common this thing for member. That's your capability. You present it to the mosque. So long as mosque continues to benefit from it, it's tawabul jariyah. No, somebody out there, Muslim, not Muslim, it doesn't matter. You reach out to that person with something that they need and they continue to benefit from it, you're going to get reward. Number two, Prophet said, our ilmun yuntafa'u bi. Knowledge, whatever the knowledge might be, so long as insan need that knowledge to develop him or herself. So only religious knowledge. So long as you impart the knowledge, and after you people are benefiting from it, it's a big tawabul jariyah. Third one is what? Awwaladun salih yad'ula. You leave behind a son or a daughter who will remember you with du'as. Because of that child, Allah will change your situation. Oh, this is just first stage. Let's go to the second stage, which is the most important. Rights of our children. You see, Islamically, upbringing of a child is 50% before birth and 50% after. Upbringing doesn't begin upon the delivery, upon the birth of the child. Yes, when one is late, no problem, you can work harder. As I said, the most hardest thing in life is upbringing, is to make it insan. It's not your business. So there are three main rights that we're going to discuss from the Islamic perspective. The first right of our children is al-hukukul idadiyya, preparatory right. Those of you who are married, listen very carefully. Those who aspire to get married, listen very, very carefully. Those who've just gotten married and they, inshallah, seeking Allah's pleasure to get children, pay maximum attention. If you understand what. Hukukul i'dadiyya. preparatory right. This hukukul i'dadi is of three main rights. It is the right of our children before they are born in advance. What is the first one? Hakul igtirab. The right of a child to be born healthy. Prophet, not me. Igtarru wala taduhu, Prophet. Go for health, don't go for harm. What do I mean? You need to know the medical status of each other before you get married. It's Islamic. If there is something, then the child can be prevented from. Today, some people come say, "No, do you know each other's medical?" No. I'm not HIV. Nobody's saying you are HIV. But it is the right of the child, from the Islamic perspective, for him or her to arrive in this world healthy. And today, alhamdulillah, medical has advanced. If one of the parents or the two of them have some medical issue which is transmittable, the doctors can do their magic for the child to be protected. That's first preparatory right. Second right, under this preparatory right, Hakul ikhtiyar, the right of who is going to be his mother or father. You can't just succumb to pressure and go with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. My child has a right for me to show the community this is the mother, this is the father. It is my choice and God-given choice. Prophet mentioned, I mentioned on the first night, اختاروا لنطفتكم. Look for the source of the womb that you are seeking to put your children in, because blood is contagious. And we have also for ladies, إذا جاءكم من تردون دينه وخلقه فزوجوه إلا تفعلوا تكن فتنة في الأرض وفساد. If that boy comes to you, churches, listen very carefully. If that boy comes to you and you trust in his akhlaq and behavior, and you trust he or she is responsible and from a good background, marry him. Otherwise, corruption will spread on earth. It is the right of our children to have good mother and good father. It begins there. Sometimes people are struggling when they are already in. There it starts there. It's good to get married, but sometimes rushing to get married doesn't help. The third preparatory right of a child is what? This peculiar. A child has to be born out of wedlock. That's Islamic. There must be nikah. There must be marriage, offer and accept. That is the first right. Second right, fetal right. Hukukul janiniya. The mother conceives. What's the first right of a child? Which is also Islam, alhamdulillah. He has the right to come to this world alive. So that's where the whole concept of abortion within the religion of Islam is something. It is allowed only and only when the pregnancy is harmful. Otherwise, abortion is not allowed within the religion of Islam. So from the Islamic perspective, it is the right of a child to come to this world alive. The second fetal right is what? the right for the child, for his mother to be fed something good and lawful when she's carrying the baby. Food is very important. Very important. Bad food can make somebody down. Yes. Quran tells us if there is thing that you need to be careful about food. You know, when a woman is pregnant, the child feed on her emotion. The child feed on whatever goes inside her. The child feed on her heartbeat. It is the right of that child when she is pregnant for a conducive atmosphere to be created in the house, for her to be provided with the best of food. Otherwise, it will affect the child. وَأُولَاتِ حَمْلٍ فَأَنْفِقُوا عَلَيْهِنَّ Quran says حَتَّى يَضَعْنَ حَمْلَهُ. 56 verses. It said, those pregnant women, feed them, provide them until they deliver. And of course, from the Islamic teachings, there are certain food when a pregnant woman takes, it will help even in the intellect of the child and also in the look of the child. Like quince, for instance, frankincense, for instance. We've got traditions. Al-Luban and Safarjal, we've got traditions from Ahlul Bayt. When a pregnant woman takes frankincense, what happened? It will strengthen the intellect of that child. And narration also said from Imam Jafar, when a pregnant woman takes quince, what will happen? It will make the child look beautiful and handsome. These are all traditions of Ahlul Bayt. So when a mother is expecting, she must be provided with halal. When you doubt a little bit about it, I beg you, don't take it home. When you rig the accounts, don't take it home. It affects. So more illicit funds affect the growth of the child. Upbringing is not a joke. You are making president, ministers, leaders. It's not a joke. And that is why this beautiful tradition from Ahl, that this is from Imam Jafar. When a woman conceives, throughout the period, each and every day, she is given reward by Allah, like the reward of the one who was in jihad alongside the Holy Prophet. Pregnancy is painful. So Prophet said, the moment she carries that baby until she delivers, she will be given the reward of the one struggling in the way of Allah alongside the Holy Prophet. And the narration continues to say, the moment she delivers, Allah prepares a reward for her, and no one knows that reward except Allah. The narration again mentioned, when she breastfeeds, every moment she breastfeeds the child, it is the thawab of itqu rakaba, freeing a slave. And then the Prophet said, the moment she's done breastfeeding, whenever she finishes weaning the child, is ta'nafat. She finishes as a newborn baby, no sin. Pregnancy is important. And Islam says, try to always keep wudu if you can. And when you eat, don't forget Allah's name. And listen to Quran. Don't listen to gossip when you are pregnant. It will affect the child. Don't look at unlawful. It will affect the child. Interesting, Islam comes with. Even you as parents, when you are to spend quality time Islam says don't spend quality time when children are awake because it may make the child lean into indecent act when the child grows. Spend time and learn Islamic arts of upbringing and preparing children for the future. The last group of right is what? The right the moment the child arrives here. And this is where I'm going to stop a lot. First right after the delivery is what? We mentioned simple one name. Give the child a good name. Don't go and give some funny name which has no tail and head. Ahlul Bayt. Don't worry, you will get the visa. Some people come and Sheikh, Wallah, you know this name, visa problem, Sheikh. Yeah. People come to me, you know what, you know this Mohammed Reza, all this you go, Emirate, I don't know, you have problems, but chill. So at the end of the world, look at how many Ali Imam Hussein had. Ali Yun al Asghar, Ali Yun al Akbar, Ali Yun Zainul Abidin. And he said, if I was blessed with more, I will give more. Names of Ahlul Bayt are powerful. Names comes with energy. It's very important. Give good names, give meaningful names. That's okay. After this, the next right is what? Hakkur Rida'a, the right of breastfeeding. Breastfeeding is important. The Holy Prophet said, Laysa lis-sabiyi labanun khayrun min labani umme. A child that has no milk higher and better in the sight of Allah than that of his mom. So that is why the mom must be peaceful and she must be in a tranquil situation, in a serene environment when she is breastfeeding the child. Rasulullah said, breastfeed right and left because right is food and left is water. And some narration recommend, not wajib. When breastfeeding, make sure you are in wudu. You've got great scholars like Allama Mutahari. When their mothers were approached, how did you make it? Said, I never breastfed him without wudu. Sounds simple, but giants are able to. Sounds simple, akhlaqi lesson, but not everybody can able because we don't have time. You thinking that bringing money is the only thing. We need money, yes. Higher education, absolutely. But you have to invest your emotion, your feelings in this. Breastfeeding is crucial. And hence, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would always encourage women when you have the chance to breastfeed your child, don't take it. Because that laban, that milk is powerful. Because the child sat here for 9 months and you are giving that milk also to that child. It goes along. Now, the next right after breastfeeding is ta'lim, teaching your children. We're going to look at it in different sections. You know the normal thing we hear, which is from the tradition. First 7, second 7, third. First 7, what does it mean? You have to create emotional connection with the children. Have powerful emotional connection. If you don't have powerful emotional connection in the first 7, you will regret when they go. They will not spend time with you. Have emotional connection and be patient with them, with their cry and with their sickness. Because it can be daunting when a child falls ill. You know what Prophet said? He said, parents who are patient when their children cry. That tears, 4 months, is shahada to Allah ilaha. And you get the reward. 4 months is Muhammad Rasulullah, you get the reward. And 4 months is dua. on behalf of the parents. When they cry, you are getting reward. It can be frustrating, but you get a reward. So be patient. And sometimes they become ill children all of a sudden, flu, whatever, ill, sleepless night. Prophet said, whoever is patient when it comes to the sickness of their children, kafaratul lidhunubil walid. It is kafara for the sins of the people. So basically, first 7, 1 to 7, have that emotional connection with the children. Spend more time. Second 7, 7 to 14 is where you teach, isn't it? But today, alhamdulillah, our children are smart. Second 7, you teach more. And the third 7, of course, they become your advisors, they become your friends, they run things in the house. That's how it is. But now let's go back. How do we teach and upbring our children? If you don't get it right, you will regret in the rest of it. Number 1, parent must focus as young as the children are on values and not development. At-tarbiyah qabla at-tanmiyah. We've got something tarbiyah. We've got something tanmiyah. Tarbiyah, values, instilling values. Tanmiyah, what is development? I want you to become a doctor. I want you to become an engineer. I want you to become a lawyer. I want you to become a psychologist. I want you to become a footballer. This is development. We need it. And our parents today, they instill only that in their children more. No. Instill Allah, Rasul, Ahlul Bayt, now and then. That is what tarbiyah is all about. And we learn this from Luqmanul Hakim. You look at chapter Luqman, from verse 12 to verse 19, he instilled the values in his children or in his child. First, he instilled the love of Allah. Ya bunayya la tushrik billah, inna shirka la dhulmun azim. Oh, my beloved son, do not associate anyone with Allah because it's a grave sin. Not only that, he instilled the love of family in the heart of his child. Today, family values are getting scattered. We look like we have family values, huh? Today, things are changing. Not only in our world, even in the wider society. So Luqman al-Hakim instilled the value of family values before development. Said, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ وَهْنًا عَلَى وَهْنٍ. Instilled, love your mom, love your parent, love your father. Luqman instilled that. Luqman instilled the love of Allah and the power that Allah has over us in his child. And not only that, he instilled the love of patience in his child. So you have time, look at chapter Luqman 12 to 19 and learn those from Luqman. So the first general act of parenting and bringing is what? Focus more on values before development. Development is important. Save the money for their education. Take them to the highest place for education. We need it in our community. But don't forget the value. Otherwise, they will be highly educated and there will be no values. Today we have in some houses, children are not talking terms with their parents. We have houses where parents bought it, a child come, I will buy you out to go and get small bungalow for yourself. This is happening. Second act, and the journalist, we must try to bring our children in an indirect way. التربية غير مباشرة. Nurture them indirectly, not directly. What is direct way is what I'm doing now. I can sit here and speak 100 years. If I don't implement what I'm telling you, it is a waste of time. Easier said than done. If all of us, including speakers, will implement what we preach you, we will move mountains. Talk is cheap. Very cheap. I'm a speaker, I'm telling you. Speakers doesn't mean that we implement everything we teach. But what is fascinating is what? People got astonished by the words and not by the act. You as a parent, make sure when you nurture your children, do it in that. What is in that? What you want to see them, let them see it in you. You want them to go to madrasa, but you hardly pick up Quran and recite in the house. They can't remember when last you opened Quran. You only pushing their mother. Take them to madrasa. Take them. I'm tired. I'm sleeping. Baba. What community are we building? These are our future. These are ma'asumin. They are innocent. No, you want them to pray salah, isn't it? But your fajr is 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. And you want them to pray. No, it doesn't work out that way. You can't preach virtue and practice vice. So scholars call it at-tarbiyatu ghayr mubashir. A bringing in an indirect way. Charity, you want them to learn? Let them see you doing it. You know, children are unbelievable. You as a parent, you want to change? Learn the art of change from it. I just want to mention this humbly. There are 4 things at least you can learn from your children if you want to change it. What is the first one? Ruhut tajdid. Children, they can't focus on one activity. They've got this spirit of changing activity, especially when they are young. Unless if the father become, excuse me, like a Hitler, sitting back, hey, you squeeze your face, you say, but they've got that spirit of renewing or energy renewal when it comes to their activity. They do this little, he does this little, he does this. It may be not good, but the children, they do that. That's a ni'mah. The second thing we can learn from children is what? Fuduliya. They are very inquisitive. That's why parents of today, if you are not good with your religion, your children will let you down. They will put you into shame. They come from school, they ask some serious questions. Why Allah this? Why Allah allow Yazid to kill Imam Hussein? How do you respond? Children ask this question. Why Allah allow Allah Imam Hussein, you love Imam Hussein? Why you allow Yazid bad boy to kill? They ask this question. Why Allah brought Corona? They ask. Where is Allah? I see mommy, I see daddy. Where is Allah? So parent, you have to be steps ahead of your children. So you learn this fuduliya, inquisitiveness from the children. They are very inquisitive. And the third one I mentioned the other night, they are very creative. You go to the shopping center, you buy dismantled, artificial fake aeroplane, you bring it home, you leave it with the children, give them some hours. By the time you come, they will be able to fix it nicely. Very powerful children. Creativity we learn from our children. And the last thing we learn from them is what? Which we mentioned also the other night. They are not scared of getting into danger. I mentioned they can pull the wire of the television. You fix it, by the time you come back, they pull in another one. Sometimes we shout, but who is mad, they or us? So indirect upbringing is very important. No, there is a movie you like. And this movie has so many haram stuff. Example, sacrifice for the sake of your children. Don't watch. I'm going to give you, a true story that I was involved. I went somewhere for majlis. Parent came to see me. Consult me, Maulana. Maulana, we don't understand. Our son, very young, But he like watching this, watching this, watching this, watching. We've tried, we spoke to madrasa school, still he's watching. We don't know what. I look at them, I said, are you also watching or not? They said, yeah, we watch when they are sleeping. But one night we were watching and he was opening the blanket slowly and he was watching. We saw him and then we switched the television off. So, okay, you are the cause, man. Sacrifice. Don't say, no, they are not here, so I'm going to do it. No. Sacrifice. So indirect upbringing is the best way. They will follow suit and nothing to worry about. Seriously. The third way is what? We need to be able to reconcile between our generations and their generation. And this, we have it in our community. You go to many communities, there is serious disintegration between the youth and the old generation. You will hardly see the youth and the whole generation sitting together and talking. Big disintegrations around, even in the West, here in the UK, massive. Some places you go, old people will say, you know what, me, I want to Urdu or Gujarati, English, forget. Young generation say, no, this Gujarati, this Urdu, no, it's not me. Really, I don't want it. No, this Thursday program must be this. The old people will say this. Serious disintegration. Likewise, if you are a father and a mother in this day and age, and your children are young, you realize that their generation is different from your generation. Their generation has two major features, and your generation has two major features. The first feature of their generation is what? Is connecting generation. Jilu ittisal. Connect. They connect. They may not see each other, but they connect because it's a global village. But old people or us generation is communicating generation, whereby we meet and talk. We meet and discuss. They may not meet. You may make how many friends on Facebook on a day? And the second feature of their generation is what? They are very inquisitive. They want to know everything. Remember, they've been to school, they've got PhDs. That doesn't mean that they are better than the older generation. Of course, I don't believe they are better. But they've studied critical thinking at school and they meet different people. So they've got so many questions. And certain things they don't feel is the right thing. It may be right, but they don't feel. You find your son of 12 years, 15 years will stand and tell you, you are too old. What are you doing? But our older generation, they were smart also. But if the parent will slap you here, they will give you to slap you. Our older generation. The father slap you, slap you. Today you slap, you look at him and why you slap. But how do we go about it? We need to reconcile between these two generations. And those who have young children and those who are leaders in the community, we need to reconcile. How do we reconcile? Number one, understand their time. Don't say, no, I have nothing to do with Facebook. I have nothing to do with Instagram. I have nothing to do with Twitter. No, know it so that you can advise properly. No, this is all. No. Whether you like it or not, if not in the house, at school, they watch. You have to learn it, know it, so that you are able to give them the best of all advice. Number two, learn to dialogue with them. Your child comes with something, you feel it's not the right thing. Dialogue. Speak to the child. Hear him out. Hear her out. Speak. Dialogue. The same thing in the center. Youth come, we want this. Old generation come, we want this. There must be dialogue between the two generations. Because you can't go this way at the expense of those people, and you can't go this way at the expense of people like. So there must be dialogue between you and your child. And then the next one is what? You have to be patient. There will not be malaika overnight. They will not be performing all the salat overnight. They will not be reciting all the Quran overnight. You as parent must be patient. Life is very fast. How many hours they spend at school and how many hours they spend with you. Madrasa It's only Saturday or Sunday. It's nothing the days. So when they go to school, they socialize. They see a lot of things. So if you are a struggling parent, you need to be patient. Otherwise, you will spoil things. We need to be patient. I know some of us, we are edgy. We want to see things happening just now. No, it doesn't work out for every house. But you need to be patient. And the last one is what? Show true love. Hubbul hakiki. And this we learn from Amir al-Mu'min. What is true love? Pay attention to their needs. They're talking to you and you are looking somewhere else. You are looking at someone. You're killing their confidence. You're destroying. And so, parents, if we are to build the best community for the Imam of our time, one department we must really focus is the department of children. That's why I feel our organizations, our mother bodies, World Federation, Africa Federation, Voyage, and Asimco, whatever organizations we are, we must have children's department and section where only affairs of children, you know, we always say youth are very important, but we neglect the children. I know in Muharram, in whatever, we have children tabligh committee every Jama. But look at UNESCO. UNESCO is all about children. It's all about the right of children. And this is one very important area we need to focus. Because if you think life today is difficult, Allah, 5 years, 10 years from now is going to be more. So we need to begin. And hence on a night like tonight, when we gather, we remember who? Ali Yunil Askar. That is from the parenting style of Abba. As if an Akbar, Asgar, Zainul Abid. They were all. Although he was infant, but that tells you the mother who was behind this beautiful baby. And that is where we need to head. We may not be like them, but we need to try as much to embark on a journey, towards ensuring that we give our children the best, so that when we are about to depart, we can say to Allah, we've done. So please, I urge you and urge our children are ours. Father, mother, cooperate. Regardless of your difference, cooperate when it comes. Failing to cooperate, you will be held accountable. We now take our hearts to the Holy Land. And remember the martyrdom of this young baby and infant of Abba Abdullah. And you know, Arbabul Makatil scholars, when they narrate the Shahada of Ali Yunil Asgar alayhi salam, they will always remind us of the similarity between Abba Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam and Ismail alayhi salam. Allama Iqbal said, Ismail helped his father to build the Kaaba, and Abba Abdullah helped to maintain the dignity and the honor of Kaaba. And he also said, Ismail was the embodiment of the love of Allah when he was willing to sacrifice himself. That Abba Abdullah al-Husayn is the embodiment of the love of Allah, not only out of his willingness to sacrifice himself, but he was willing to sacrifice his family. I tell you, Mu'mineen and Mu'minat, narration mentioned, when Ibrahim alayhi salam met Ismail in Mina, to implement Allah's instruction. Ismail looked at his beloved father Ibrahim and he said to him, "Oh, my beloved father, I have 3 requests from you before you slaughter me." The father said, "What are your requests?" He said, "My first request is that tie my 2 hands and my 2 legs so that you do not see me move when I'm killed. Because I know it will not be easy for you, Father, to see me going." He said, "Oh, my beloved Father, cover my face before you strike me. Because when you see and look at my face, you'll not be able to implement the command of Allah." He said, "My father, I know it's difficult for my mother. Once you done slaughtering me, kindly take my clothes back to my mother." Scholars ask this question, that Ya Aba Abdullah, O Hussein, when you took Ali Yunila Asghar to Karbala on the 10th day of Muharram, Aba Abdullah, you had no blindfold. How difficult was it, Ya Aba Abdullah, to see the arrow on the neck of Ali Yunila Asghar? He said, "Ya Aba Abdullah, when you took Ali Yunila Asghar on the 10th day of Muharram, did you know he would flap his hand the way he flapped his hand when Harmala struck the arrow on his neck?" I said, "Ya Aba Abdullah, how difficult was it to meet Bibi Rabab, holding the child with the arrow stuck on the neck of the child?" But you know what happened, Mu'minin and Mu'minat? Aba Abdullah came to Khaymaga and he called out, "Atini waladi as-sabir hatta uwaddi'ahu wa ukabbila." Bring me my infant baby. I want to kiss and bid farewell. Bibi Rabab had no energy to bring Ali ibn al-Asghar. Who brought him? Bibi Zainab alayha. Why Bibi Rabab couldn't take Asghar to Aba Abdullah? Because as a mother, she realized that the baby was not moving. And not only that, she realized that there was no noise coming from the baby. And you know, as parent, when you don't hear noise from your child, you become worried, isn't it, sir? Bibi Rabab did not hear any noise for some time. And Asghar was not moving at all. So when Abu Abdullah called out, "Bring my Asghar," Sayyida Zainab took Asghar to Abu Abdullah. Why Bibi Rabab? She said, "Because the lips of Asghar was dry. There was no water for milk to be generated for Ali ibn al-Asghar to be fed." He took Asghar to Abu Abdullah. Bibi Zainab, narration mentioned, Abu Abdullah began to walk towards the battlefield. He placed Asghar on his chest. He looked at the camp of the enemies and he called out, "Am I the target or Asghar?" He said, "Oh people, I beg you, give water to my son." She mentioned they were divided. Some said to Umar ibn Sa'd, "Give." Some said, "Don't." But eventually Umar ibn Sa'd said, "We are not giving water. We want to see Hussein break up." Narration mentioned Abu Abdullah then walked to the middle of the battlefield and he placed Asghar on the ground. When he placed Asghar, he walked back a little bit and he was waiting to see if they would offer water. He called out, "Oh people, I beg you, give water to my son." Narration said he called out 3 times and there was painful quietness. No one was willing to give water. But you know, Allahu Akbar, scholars mentioned when Ibrahim placed Ismail on the ground, And Ismail began to scroll his hand. Water of Zamzam came out. But when Abu Abdullah placed Asgar on the ground, there was nothing but dryness in Karbala. Abu Abdullah then picked up Ali Yunil Asgar and he placed Ali on his chest. He looked at the camp of the enemies. He called out, I beg you, offer water to my son. No, if you read Maktal, you realize that the one who narrates this beautifully is Mukhtar al-Thaqafi. When Mukhtar got hold of the enemies to revenge on behalf of Karbala, he got hold of Harmala. He asked Harmala, what did you do on the 10th day of Muharram? Harmala said, I had 7 targets on the 10th day of Muharram. 4 went successful and 3 weren't successful. Mukhtar asked Harmala, can you outline the 4 that you were successful? So the first one was when I saw Abu Abdullah came out and he was fighting, and when I saw him falling down and surrounded by arrows, his nephew Abdullah, the son of Imam Hassan, rushed to the body of Abu Abdullah and called out, I will not allow you to kill my uncle. Harmala said, my first successful target was that when the boy was sitting or laid his body next to Abu Abdullah, I struck my arrow to the right arm of Abdullah. I shocked his right arm. Then Armala said, my second target was when Abbas was falling down. I struck the arrow to the right eyes of Abbas. He said, my arrow blocked the eyes of Abbas. But Armala said to Mukhtar, my third successful arrow hurts Armala, saying this. He said, because the arrow I used is the arrow we normally use for camel's neck. And I took the arrow and Hussein was holding the baby. Hussein was holding the baby. And Hussein was begging for water. And Hussein begged and begged. What I did was to strike the arrow. And when I struck the arrow went and pierced the neck of Ali. Mukhtar asked Karmal, what did you see? He said, I only saw blood. I didn't see it. This was the difficult moment for Abu Abdullah. Abu Abdullah was holding the baby because the catalogue of Asgar was the chest of Abu Abdullah. Now, Abu Abdullah, how to face Bibi Rabab? To tell her that there is an arrow on the neck of your baby. Abu Abdullah began to return to Khaymaga. When he got to Khaymaga, he could not enter. He went forward and he came back again. He went forward when he was about to enter, he came back again. Abu Abdullah went forward, he did that 7 times. Calling out, Ilahi ridam bi qada'ik wa tasliman li amrik. Allahu Akbar. Someone came from Khaymaga according to narration and he asked Abu Abdullah, what are you holding? And what are you doing? He said, I do not know how to approach Rabab and tell her there is an arrow on the neck of Ali. And that is why on Shami Gariba, you know what happened? Bibi Rabab left Khaymaga. Already they went to the Khaymaga. And Sayyidah Zainab was looking for Bibi Rabab. Eventually she found said, Rabab, why can't you come to take rest? She said, Zainab, there is no rest for me. Zainab asked her why. She said, they've given us water now, isn't it? Zainab said, yes. She said, I have breast milk now. I'm looking for Asghar. I've been looking for Asghar. I want to breastfeed him. You know what she said? Allahu Akbar. She said, maybe Zainab, I'm not a good mother. This final one will break the heart of the lover of Ali Yunil Asghar. When they returned to Karbala for Imam Zain al-Abidin to bury the body properly, she went to the body of Asghar. She sat by the body and she called out, oh, the sand of Karbala, do not sting the body of us. Oh, the dust of Karbala, take care of Asghar. على لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلب. Let's raise our hands. We pray to Allah Tabarak Bismihil A'zam, that may Allah protect our children. These children who we are blessed, they are the greatest. Allah protect them. Allah keep them on the path of Muhammad wa Ali. Allah continue to make them represent Ahlul Bayt. I tell you, brothers, the bottom of my heart, I have respect for all those who teach in madrasa, all those who organize workshops for children. Because you being a parent of 2-3 children, you know how it is. I salute this night all those mothers, fathers who teach in organize workshops. Let's pray for them. All the leadership of Allah, may Allah reward them immensely. And may Allah fulfill their legitimate. Whatever they normally leave behind, reach out to them. Allah takes care of them. For many and may Allah keep them. May Allah forgive her and grant Jannah. Those Shabab, you who are aspiring to get married, may Allah make it easy for you, inshallah. And those who are having difficulty getting married, pray that Allah facilitate on your behalf. And those who are in marriage and they are faced with challenge, Allah ease those challenges on their behalf. And those of us who are in marriage for many years, Allah continue to see us. Allah.
था ये बानों का बयान, किसको दूं अब लोरियां, ढूंढती फिरती है मादर, है मेरा असगर कहाँ, तेरा झूला जल गया, ऐ मेरे तशना दहां, ढूंढती फिरती है मादर, है मेरा असगर कहाँ, खूं भरा कुर्ता तेरा, हाय वो भी छिन गया, جیوں کس کے سہارے، پاس میرے کیا رہا، زندگی ہے رائگاں، عمر بھر ہوں نوحہ خواں، ڈھونڈتی پھرتی ہے مادر، ہے میرا اصغر کہاں، ہائے وہ نازک گلا، 3 دن سے خشک تھا، بھر کے موجے تیر نے وہ اس قدر زخمی کیا، تر ہوئی خون سے زبان، لے سکے نہ ہچکیاں، ڈھونڈتی پھرتی ہے مادر، ہے میرا اصغر کہاں، خالی جھولا دیکھ کر اے میرے نور نظر، آنکھ بھر آتی ہے میری اور روتا ہے جگر، سو گئے ہو تم کہاں، چین کیسے پائے ماں، ڈھونڈتی پھرتی ہے مادر، ہے میرا اصغر کہاں، یا حسین یا حسین، یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، حیا علی خیر العمل، 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 یا حسین یا حسین، مل کے پڑھیں، یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، حیا علی خیر العمل، 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 یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، مل کے یا حسین یا حسین، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، مل کے پڑھیں، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، اب ساری خدائی میں، اب ساری خدائی میں اصغر نہ ملے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، مل کے جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، نہ ملے گا، اب جھولا جھلانے کو ترس جائیں گی باہیں، خیمے میں کبھی دشت میں ڈھونڈے گی نگاہیں، تھک جائے گی یہ آنکھیں، تھک جائے گی یہ آنکھیں، اصغر نہ ملے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، کیا وقت مصیبت ہے ذرا دیکھ اے دکھیا، کل جھولے میں بے شیر تھا اور پانی نہیں تھا، مل جائے گا جب پانی، مل جائے گا جب پانی، اصغر نہ ملے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، ہے جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، ہے جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، ڈھائیں گے لئی ہم پر ابھی اور قیامت، ڈھونڈیں گے شقی دشت میں بے شیر کی تربت، شہداء کے سروں میں جب، شہداء کے سروں میں جب اصغر نہ ملے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر ماشاءاللہ جیو ماتمی، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، زندہ سے رہا ہو کر جب جاؤ گے تم گھر، ہر گود میں ڈھونڈے گی بہت روئے گی مضطر، جب فاطمہ صغرا کو، جب فاطمہ صغرا کو اصغر نہ ملے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، ہے جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، نہ ملے گا، ہے جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر ملے گا، اب جھولا جھلانے کو ترس جائیں گی باہیں، خیمے میں کبھی دشت میں ڈھونڈے گی نگاہیں،
تھک جائیں گی یہ آنکھیں، تھک جائیں گی یہ آنکھیں، اصغر نہ ملے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، ماشاءاللہ نہ ملے گا، ہے جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، نہ ملے گا۔ کیا وقت مصیبت ہے ذرا دیکھ اے دکھیا، کل جھولے میں بے شیر تھا اور پانی نہیں تھا، مل جائے گا جب پانی، مل جائے گا جب پانی، اصغر نہ ملے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا، جھولا تو نظر آئے گا، اصغر نہ ملے گا۔ تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں میں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں میں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں میں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، مل کے میں تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، جھلاؤں، میں خواب میں اصغر تجھے، میں خواب میں اصغر تجھے لوری بھی سناؤں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں میں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، ہے تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، لوٹاؤ سفر سے کہ بڑی دیر ہوئی ہے، لوٹاؤ سفر سے کہ بڑی دیر ہوئی ہے، بے تاب ہوں کب سے تجھے، بے تاب ہوں کب سے تجھے لوری بھی سناؤں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں میں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، ہے تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں میں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، مل کے پڑھیں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، سن کے ماتمی، کوئی مجھے بتلاتا نہیں تیری نشانی، کوئی مجھے بتلاتا نہیں تیری نشانی، برسات میں تیروں کی، برسات میں تیروں کی کہاں ڈھونڈنے جاؤں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں میں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، ہے تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں میں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، جھولا جھلاؤں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں میں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، بابا سے تیرا جنازہ نہ اٹھے گا، بابا سے تیرا جنازہ نہ اٹھے گا، رک جا ذرا عباس کو، رک جا ذرا عباس کو، دریا سے بلاؤں تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، میں تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، ہے تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، میں تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، میں تجھے یہ خون بھرا کرتا یہ مٹی میں بھرے بال، یہ خون بھرا کرتا یہ مٹی میں بھرے بال، سینے میں چھپاؤں کہ سینے میں چھپاؤں کہ میں آنکھوں سے لگاؤں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، میں تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، ہے تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، میں تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، بلند از ماشاءاللہ، تجھے جھولا، مولا ان ہاتھوں کو سلامت رکھے، ماشاءاللہ، جیو ماتمی لا جھلاؤں، ہے تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، میں تجھے لوٹاؤ سفر سے کہ بڑی دیر ہوئی ہے، لوٹاؤ سفر سے کہ بڑی دیر ہوئی ہے، بے تاب ہوں کب سے تجھے، بے تاب ہوں کب سے تجھے سینے سے لگاؤں، تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، میں تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، ہے تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، میں تجھے جھولا جھلاؤں، بشین بشین
قريبا قريبا حسين حسين شهيد شهيد حسين حسين قريب قريب حسين حسين شهيد شهيد Hussein went to his camp to say his goodbye. The ladies surround him and all start to cry. Abbas gone past him and Akbar as and Asad slowed without a farewell. Sakina grabbed onto the feet of Zulkarnain, and Zainab to him, Mahlan Hussein. Hussein, Shaheed, Shaheed. On the ground with no shroud, Hussein's body lying around him, the women killed his teeth smacked, his ribs cracked, just like his mother. His back broke after the death of his brother. Hussein had no helper. He lies there with him. sat on his chest. غريب And after Hussein died, the horses assembled. They mounted the steed and the hooves they did charge. The enemy tribesmen you hear call out to trample on our king. We won't allow to anybody is on the ground still remain. Yes, just one, the blessed body of Hussein. Hussein al-Gharib al-Hussein. Hussein al-Shaheed al-Shaheed. The tents burned, hijabs torn, Sakina is weeping. From her ear the blood flows, it just won't stop seeping. She runs to the body of her dear father, but which headless body belongs to which martyr? The head of Hussein from the spear called her near. Come lie with me, daughter, you've nothing to fear. Hussein al-Gharib al-Hussein, Hussein al-Shaheed. Today by the stranger the pilgrims are millions. Above him the angels are there in the billions. But now who are the lonely strangers we see? Hassan and Sajjad lying alone in Baqi, or his sister Zainab and daughter Sakina. Tonight do we long for Sham or Medina? Hussein al-Gharib al-Gharib al-Hussein, Hussein al-Shaheed Shaheed al-Hussein, Hussein
الغريب الحسين حسين الشهيد شهيد दुहाई दुहाई खुदा रा दुहाई ये दश्ते बला में है कैसी तबाही बहाया है किसने ये खूने मुहम्मद कयामत ये डाई है किसने इलाही जवानों बुजुर्गों को मारा गया है शहीदों में शामिल है नन्ना सिपाही हुसैन अल गरीब غريب الحسين حسين الشهيد الشهيد الحسين حسين 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 الشهيد ताज़े दामाद को जा تازه داماد کجا بادیل ناشاد کجا تازه داماد کجا تازه داماد کجا بادیل ناشاد کجا سلیه شمر کجا سلیه شمر کجا سکینہ زار کجا سلیے شمر کجا سلیے شمر کجا سکینہ زار کجا زینب زار کجا زینب زار کجا عابد بیمار کجا آل اطہار کجا آل اطہار کجا کوچا و بازار کجا بابا جاں دیکھنا کیا بابا جاں دیکھنا کیا سن بھی نہ پاؤ گے بیان میرے رخسار پہ ظالم کی انگوٹھی کے نشان بابا جاں تم بھی مجھے بابا جاں تم بھی مجھے اب نہیں پہچانو گے خاک بالوں میں لہو کانوں سے اب تک ہے رواں صبر کر غم پہ مگر کیسے کیا مجھ سے سنو تیرا 100 میل سفر کیسے کیا مجھ سے سنو اپنے غم تم بھی سناؤ اپنے غم میں بھی سناؤں بابا جاں تم کو نہیں بابا جاں تم کو نہیں کیا میرے زخموں کی خبر اب مجھے لوگ بلاتے ہیں یتیماں کہہ کر بابا جاں آج تلک بابا جاں آج تلک میں یہ سمجھ پائی نہیں باپ کا جانا یتیمی یا اسیری ہے پدر لوگ مجھ سے یہی کہتے ہیں کہ تو مانگ دعا اب کسی کو بھی یتیمی نہ ملے تیری طرح بابا ہے بابا اپنے غم تم بھی سناؤ اپنے غم میں بھی سناؤں اپنے غم تم بھی سناؤ اپنے غم میں بھی سناؤں یا حسین بے وطن یا حسین بے کفن یا حسین بے وطن یا حسین بے کفن وہ لو وہ خاک دشت کی وہ گرمی ہوا وہ لو وہ خاک دشت کی وہ گرمی ہوا اس دھوپ میں کھڑا ہے سلیمان کربلا زہرا پکارتی ہے کہ فریاد یا خدا زہرا پکارتی ہے کہ فریاد یا خدا میرا حسین دھوپ کے اندر ہے جل رہا مظلوم کہہ رہا تھا کہ میں پیاسا پیاسا ہوں مظلوم کہہ رہا تھا کہ میں پیاسا پیاسا ہوں اے شمر تجھ سے مانگتا پانی ذرا سا ہوں یا حسین بے وطن یا حسین بتلاؤ میں ستاتا ہوں یا تم ستاتے ہو، میں تو دعائیں دیتا ہوں تم دل جلاتے ہو، مجھ کو نہیں رلاتے نبی کو رلاتے ہو، مجھ کو نہیں رلاتے نبی کو رلاتے ہو، یہ تیر فاطمہ کے جگر پر لگاتے ہو، یا حسین بے وطن، یا حسین بے کفن، ہائے ہائے میں کس زبان سے کہوں وا مصیبتا، ہائے ہائے میں کس زبان سے کہوں وا مصیبتا، سر کاٹنے کو سینہ شبیر پر چڑھا، قاتل تو قتل کرنے میں کچھ شک نہیں کرنا، قاتل تو قتل کرنے میں کچھ شک نہیں کرنا، خنجر تجھے خدا کی قسم منہ نہ موڑنا، دریا بھی رو دیا سمندر بھی رو دیا، دریا بھی رو دیا سمندر بھی رو دیا، نازک گلے کو دیکھ کے خنجر بھی رو دیا، یا حسین بے وطن، یا حسین بے کفن، تازے داماد کجا، تازے داماد کجا، بادل ناشاد کجا، سلیے شمر کجا، سلیے شمر کجا، سکینہ زار کجا، زینب زار کجا، زینب زار کجا، عابد بیمار کجا، ہائے حسین نام حسین، ہائے حسین نام، ہائے حسین نام حسین، ہائے حسین نام حسین، ہائے حسین نام حسین، ہائے حسین نام حسین، ہائے حسین نام،
یا حسین 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 مل کے یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین ہو یا کربل ہو یا کربل ہو یا کربل دے وچ جدا غازی زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی ہائے ہائے زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی مل کے زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی ہائے ہائے زہرا جائیاں اج بھی بنتے حسین رون دیے 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 ہاتھ میرے قید
دے تو چھڑا غازی زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی ہے زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی ہے زہرا جائیاں غازی ہو یا کربل ہو یا کربل ہو یا کربل دے وچ جدا غازی زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی ہے زہرا جیو مات میری چادر خدا دا پردہ ہے 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 میری چادر ہے میری چادر دی تو بقا غازی زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی ہے زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی ہے زہرا جائیاں ہو یا کربل ہو یا کربل ہو یا کربل دے وچ جدا غازی زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی ہے زہرا کیویں جاواں گی شام تے کوفہ کیویں جاواں گی شام تے کوفہ کیویں جاواں گی شام تے کوفہ ہے کیویں جاواں گی شام تے کوفہ میں کو محمل تے آبہا غازی زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی ہے زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی ہے زہرا زہرا جائیاں سب پڑھو ماشاءاللہ غازی ہے زہرا جائیاں چھ جگہ تو حسین چن آئے چھ جگہ تو حسین چن آئے ہے چھ جگہ تو حسین چن آئے اور چھ جگہ تو حسین چن آئے پھر بھی پورا نہ مل سکا غازی زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی چھ جگہ تو حسین چن آئے 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 پھر بھی پورا نہ مل سکا غازی زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی ہے زہرا جائیاں داسرا شمر رج رج حسین کو مارے شمر رج رج سکینہ کو مارے ہے شمر رج رج سکینہ کو مارے شمر رج رج سکینہ کو مارے ارے جان دائے نہیں ریا غازی ارے جانتا ہے نہیں رہا غازی، زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی، شمر رج رج حسین کو مارے، 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 جان دائے نہیں ریا غازی، زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی، زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی، زہرا جائیاں غازی، ہے زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی، ہے زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی، اپنی گودی میں لے کے بیٹھی ہے، 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 تیرے ہاتھوں کو سیدہ غازی، زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی، تجھ کو روتے ہوئے سکینہ نے، تجھ کو روتے ہوئے سکینہ نے، ہر تماچے پہ دی صدا غازی، ہر تماچے پہ دی صدا غازی، زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی، ارے مارتا ہے لائی سکینہ کو، مارتا ہے لائی سکینہ کو، ہنس کے کہتا ہے اب بلا غازی، زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی، زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی، ہے زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی، اپنی گودی میں لے کے بیٹھی ہے، 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 تیرے ہاتھوں تیرے ہاتھوں تیرے ہاتھوں کو سیدہ غازی، زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی، زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی، زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی، ہے زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی، تجھ کو روتے ہوئے سکینہ نے، تجھ کو روتے ہوئے سکینہ نے، تجھ کو روتے ہوئے سکینہ نے، ہے تجھ کو روتے ہوئے سکینہ نے، ہر تماچے پہ دی صدا غازی، زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی، زہرا جائیاں داسرا غازی، ہے زہرا جائیاں، ہم رہے نہ رہے مگر بی بی تا قیامت رہے ہمیں سرور، یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا، ماشاءاللہ سب مل کے، یا زہرا ہے ہمیں حفظ اور امان دے دے، اپنی چادر کا سائبہ دے دے، تو ہمیں حفظ اور امان دے دے، اپنی چادر کا سائبہ دے دے، تیری قدرت میں کیا نہیں بی بی، تو جسے چاہے دو جہاں دے دے، یا زہرا 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 Zahra. Brothers, it's Shab Ashur today. Make your voices heard in Karbala. Inshallah, next time we recite this, know how you'll be over there. Ya Zahra, Ya Zahra. Milke, Ya, MashaAllah. Ya Zahra. تجھ کو امت نے یوں ستایا ہے، مرگ محسن پہ بھی رلایا ہے، تجھ کو امت نے یوں ستایا ہے، مرگ محسن پہ بھی رلایا ہے، تجھ کو بابا کے بعد امت نے ہائے دربار میں بلایا ہے، یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا ہے یا زہرا یا زہرا، اے میری بی بی اے میری بی بی، آنسوں میں دعا مانگی ہے، تیری تسبیح پڑھ کے دل نے تجھے پکارا ہے، یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا یا زہرا، فرش مجلس پہ اور مصلی پر ہر جواں کہہ رہا ہے رو رو کر، فرش مجلس پہ اور مصلی پر ہر جواں کہہ رہا ہے رو رو کر، ہم رہے نہ رہے مگر بی بی تا قیامت رہے غم سرور، یا زہرا 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 یا زہرا، کربلا میں تیری شبیہ بن کر، اپنے بابا کی زندگی بن کر، کربلا میں تیری شبیہ بن کر، اپنے بابا کی زندگی بن کر، تیرا بچپن ہے سکینہ بی بی اور جوانی ہے زینب مزتر، یا زہرا 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 وہ عابد بیمار تھا، وہ عابد بیمار تھا، چلنے سے جو لاچار تھا، چلنے سے جو لاچار تھا، اور شام کا بازار تھا، اور شام کا بازار تھا، اور مصطفیٰ کی بیٹیاں مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین شبیر کی وہ لاڈلی شبیر کی وہ لاڈلی سینے پہ جو شاہ کے پلی سینے پہ جو شاہ کے پلی جس کی عبا بن میں جلی جس کی عبا بن میں جلی منہ پر تماچوں کے نشان ہے زینب ہے شام ہے زین ہے شام ہے زین ہے شام ہے زینب ہے شام یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین
یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین ہائے سکینہ ہائے پیاس ہائے پیاس ہائے پیاس یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین 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 یا حسین حسین یا حسین یا حسین
پر محمد وآل محمد صلوات
على محمد وآل محمد
السلام عليك يا رسول الله السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك يا مولى وابن مولى السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء السلطان أبا الحسن علي بن موسى الرضا كن شفيعنا وشفيع والدينا في يوم الجزاء ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب العصر والزمان سيدي الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. With the loudest of your voices. اللهم كن لوليك
الحجة ابن الحسن
صلواتك
عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة
وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا
حتى تسكنه أرزك تطوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا
برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
اللهم صل على